live a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life. Craig has been reading books and researching the topic of physical health. He has discovered a starting component to a healthy physical life. Today's speech, titled Group A, is part one of two speeches. Group A illuminates the state of physical health in Utah and poses a question for all. The second speech, Group B, is scheduled for January 6, 2015. The information forthcoming in the Group B speech will provide the astonishing, if not somewhat obvious, answer to mitigating the high probability of disease on a personal level. This is Project 9 from the Competent Communication Manual, Persuade with Power. The objectives are to persuade listeners to adopt your viewpoint or ideas or take some action. Appeal to the audience's interests. Use logic and emotion to support your position, and avoid using notes. The time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and the title of your speech is Group A. Group A, Craig Hafer. Thank you.
If you could join Group A, in which 1 out of 2 people die from heart disease, cancer, and stroke, or you could join Group B, in which these diseases are virtually unknown, and you'd be healthier in almost every other way, if you know what I mean. Which group would you join? I don't know anyone who hasn't suffered a devastating loss and the pain associated with heart disease, cancer, and stroke. Today I'm going to give some frightening death rate statistics for the state of Utah. We're going to talk about the standard American diet, and then I'm going to talk about the health of my immediate blood family. These data are 2011 data for the state of Utah from the Centers for Disease Control. The y-axis is the percentage of deaths by age group. So you can look at your age group in there. Now, if we had heart disease and stroke, there's a couple things you should take away from this graph. Number one, people don't wake up at age 35 and have heart disease and stroke. These diseases take decades to manifest themselves into death. From age 35, age group on up, the percentage of deaths in those age groups increases. If we add cancer to this, it has the same trend, decades to manifest itself as death. Age 75, it drops off a little bit, but is more than made up for with the increase in heart disease and stroke. So the composite plot with the red shows heart disease, cancer, and stroke all together. 3 takeaways from this. Number one, these diseases take decades to manifest themselves as death. Number 2, once you're in your mid-50s, 1 out of every 2 deaths in your age group is going to be attributed to heart disease, stroke, and cancer. And number 3, and most importantly, these diseases are preventable and they can be reversed. Let's talk about the American diet. This is a food plate that our U.S. government puts out. Grains, fruits, vegetables, a big chunk of protein, a big dollop of dairy, and absolutely no guidance on where these nutrients come from. White bread for the grains, fruit roll-up, potato chips, French fries. Let's look at a sample menu. This is breakfast. Fruit Loops, milk, M&Ms. There wasn't much in there, so let's add some fiber and vitamins. I don't know anybody that actually does this kind of breakfast. I do know one person who does granola bars for breakfast. Lunch, grilled cheddar cheeseburger, throw a piece of lettuce on to help with your vegetable group. Dinner, 3 slices pepperoni pizza, 1 16-ounce soda, 1 serving Archway sugar cookies. I'm not sure what Archway sugar cookies are. My parents eat Oreos. So how does the nutritional breakdown fit into our daily value guideline by the government? Carbs, protein, and fat are all within the recommended % daily value, as you can see in this pie chart. Protein, 18%, fat, carbohydrates. Note the added sugars at 23%. When you look at a nutrition label in the store, you won't see a % daily value for sugars because the food industry and the nutritionists haven't agreed upon a number. The nutritionists think it should be much lower. With that, I want to pose a question to you. Do you think there's a relationship between the standard American diet and heart disease, stroke, and cancer?
Yes. Yes.
I'll just let you think about that. You don't have to answer right now. Now I want to talk about the health of my immediate blood family. My younger brother passed away about 3 years ago at age 52 from cancer. It was a very heartbreaking 6 months for everybody in the family, and especially for my mother, who took him in to hospice care the last week of his life. She watched his emaciated body turn comatose the last few days of his life. My dad is 89 years old. At age 67, he had coronary artery disease. He's had angioplasty, he's had stents. He's one of the lucky ones. He's alive at 89, although the quality of his life is not that great. Mentally, he has a short-term memory problem. He's just a shell of who he used to be. He doesn't talk much. Physically, he's very, very weak. He's got to rock about 6 or 8 times with a final bounce off the cushion in his chair to get enough momentum to swing into his walker. He seems content, flipping through the channels on the TV and sleeping a lot. My mom is 83 years old. She's been very sharp mentally and physically very active. This year in May, she accidentally bumped her shin on an open dishwasher door, and a very small wound grew into a very large wound. She was at the wound clinic twice a week for almost 6 months before that wound finally healed. And in the process of healing, she lost a little bit mentally. She's now showing symptoms of short-term memory loss. I've shared with you some startling or frightening statistics for the state of Utah, the standard American diet, the health of my family. I choose Group B. And if you choose Group B, it's not going to cost you anything financially, but you will have to give up something. You'll have to give up some cholesterol, some weight, and some blood pressure. I want to give you a taste. Group B.
He buys his
Toastmaster?